Good evening. To all those of you that watched the sketchbook last week, thank you. Your checks are in the post.
Music to my ears. I hope you made mine out in cash. Following the success of last week's show, we've once again spared no expense trawling through the archives, searching for royalty-free sketches, and this week we've come up with
a doctor whose bedside manner leaves a lot to be desired.
A husband and wife team who embark on the most beautiful of journeys, career rivalry.
4 Yorkshiremen who are determined to outdo each other with tales from their childhood.
But first, the court is now in session. Let's hear some real accounts of lawyers questioning their witnesses.
How was your first marriage terminated?
By death.
By whose death was it terminated?
Take a wild guess.
Good morning, Dr. Death?
Death.
Death?
Oh, don't worry, it's an old family name. There have been deaths in this village for hundreds of years.
Ah, well, my name is Billet. I just moved in and I would like to register as a patient.
As a patient? Good heavens.
Well, you are a doctor.
Yes, of course. Well, we shall try and fit you in somewhere, Mr. Body.
Mr. Billet.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Did I say corpse? Yes, just a slip of the scalpel. Yes, we do have a lot of clients at the surgery, but I'm sure we can fit you in somewhere. Yes, Jim Tompkins, you can take his place.
Isn't he registered anymore?
No, dead as a doornail. Fine 1 minute and then crash, bang, wallop.
Oh dear, what happened?
He fell out of a window. Still, we all have to go someday. Now, why don't you tell me a few things about yourself as I go feed my goldfish? I am quite the animal lover, you know.
Well, I've been having some problems with my ankle. It started about 6 months ago and I began to think. Is he asleep? Or fainted?
I think he's drowned. I'll feed him to the cat. I know that's what he would have wanted. Hey, Kitty. Hey, girl.
Does your cat always sleep on her back with her legs straight up in the air?
She has been doing that recently, yes.
I think it was high time I was going.
Oh, no, please, just tell me a few more details about yourself. Are you single or buried?
Buried. No, married.
Oh, really? I'm a widower myself.
Well, you would be.
Hello? Yes, Death speaking. Oh, hello, Mrs. Forsyth. How's the husband? Oh, well, I am sorry to hear that. When's the funeral? Would you like some fudge?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, well, I thought it was fudge poisoning. I mean, food poisoning. Well, I'd love to come, but I've actually got a different function on at the same time, yes. Same cemetery, actually. Yes, Mr. Grundy. Ingrown toenail. No, it's not usually fatal, but there were complications. Well, he died. That was one of the complications. Look, why don't we combine the two and have a joint do? I could dig up a couple of friends and bring them along. Lovely. I'll arrange everything later. Mrs. Forsyth? Funny, she just rang off.
I really must go. I can't stay.
Really? What's the matter with you?
What's the matter with me? What's the matter with you? I'll see myself out.
Oh, watch your step on the stairs.
And what gear were you in at the moment of impact?
Gucci sweats and Reeboks.
The youngest son? The 20-year-old? How old is he?
He's 20. Much like your IQ.
It's forgery, all right. It's only subtle, mind you. Have to know what to look for. See this capital A in England? That lower loop there is slightly lower than it should be, compared to the letter D here. Also, the decoration on the crown is slightly too ornate, particularly the thistle motif. The purple shading by the side of the face, that gets a little too deep, a little too quickly. It's only slight, but the fault is there. Besides, it says Bank of Toyland on the back.
Doctor, before you performed the autopsy, did you check for a pulse?
No.
Did you check for blood pressure?
No.
Did you check for breathing?
No.
So then is it possible, Doctor, that the patient was still alive before the autopsy began?
No.
How can you be so sure, Doctor?
Because his brain was sitting on my desk in a jar.
That hits the spot.
There's nothing like a good cup of tea.
You're right there.
Back in my day, we'd been lucky to have a cup of tea.
Aye, cold cup of tea.
Without milk or sugar.
Or tea.
In a filthy crack cup and all.
Oh, we never used to have a cup. We used to have to drink it out of a rolled up newspaper.
The best we could manage was to suck on a piece of damp cloth.
But you know, we were happier in those days, even though we were poor. My old dad used to say to me, money doesn't bring you happiness.
He was right. I was happy back then and I had nothing. I remember we used to live in this tiny old house with big holes in the roof.
House? You were lucky to have a house. We used to live in one room, all 26 of us. No furniture, half the floor was missing. We all huddled together in one corner for fear of falling.
You were lucky to have a room. We used to live in a corridor.
Oh, we could dream of living in a corridor. It would have been a palace to us. We used to live in a water tank on a rubbish tip. Got woken up every morning by having a load of rotting fish dumped all over us. House? Ugh.
Well, when I say house, it was only a holding ground covered by a piece of towel bowling, but it was house to us.
We were evicted from our hole in the ground. We had to go live in a lake.
You were lucky to have a lake. There were 160 of us living in a shoebox in the middle of a road.
Cardboard box.
Aye.
You were lucky. We lived for 3 months in a brown paper bag in a septic tank. We used to have to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, clean out the bag, eat crust stale bread, go to work downmill 14 hours a day, week in, week out. And when we got home, our dad would thrash us to sleep with his belt.
Luxury. We used to have to get out lake at 3 o'clock in the morning, clean the lake, eat a handful of hot gravel, go to work at the mill for twopence a month, and when we got home, our dad would beat us round the head and neck with a broken bottle if we were lucky.
Well, we had it tough. We used to have to get up out of the shoebox at 12 o'clock at night, lick the road clean with our tongues, have half a handful of freezing cold gravel, work 24 hours a day at the mill for 4p every 6 years. And when we got home, my dad would slice us in two with a bread knife.
Right. I had to get up in the morning at 10 o'clock at night, half an hour before I went to bed, eat a lump of cold poison, work 29 hours a day down mill, and pay Miller for permission to come to work. And when we got home, our dad would kill us and make us clean up our own mess.
Now, if you were trying to tell the young people of that today, they wouldn't believe you.
No.
No.
When he went, had you gone and had she, if she wanted to and were able, for the time being, excluding all restraints on her not to go, gone also, would have brought you, meaning you and she, with him to the station?
Objection. That question should be taken out and shot.
Amelia, I thought I heard the dog. You look exhausted. Are you all right?
Yeah, just, you know.
Tough day on the ward.
We had a couple of new admissions. A little boy with a pronounced heart murmur, poor thing. He looks as if he'll be all right, but Sarai's back on the ventilator.
I'm sorry, Amelia.
It's hitting bed crisis time. I just don't know how many more children we'll be able to fit on the ward. Sorry to unload on that on you. How was your day at the ice cream factory?
Oh, you know, fine.
It's okay, you can tell me.
Well, I guess it was a bit of a tough day at the ice cream factory today. But compared to your day, it was nothing. But
Edmund, we've been through this. Just because I'm a paediatrician dealing with severely ill children doesn't mean you can't have a tough day tasting ice cream at the ice cream factory.
well, I was just trying to make this blueberry surprise. But with what happened with the raspberry ripple incident, that thing boomed. And now I'm just feel like I'm walking on eggshells.
I know what you mean. I'm dealing with something similar. I'm having to spend more time on the ward with children who, well, we know they just aren't going to get better. And it's hard because you look into their parents' eyes and you don't know what to say.
Yeah, that is quite similar, isn't it? You know, sometimes I feel like tasting ice cream just isn't as important as dealing with sick and dying children.
Of course it is. Look, I work hard saving children's lives, but you work just as hard making sure they have some lovely ice cream to enjoy when they get better.
Yeah, that's right.
The only thing I ever got from you was sorrow. Sorrow.
Well, that's all we have time for tonight's show. Next week, we will be giving out free chocolate coins to all of those viewers watching live. That's a guarantee.
It is not a guarantee, but we encourage you to tune in anyway. We'll see you next time on the Sketchbook. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.